Hey guys, welcome to Math Today. Together we will be adding large numbers using 4 different methods. Each method is valuable and hopefully all of the methods aren't completely new to you. What you'll need today is your math notebook as well as a pencil. On your math notebook, on the next clean page, I would like you to split it into 4 equal sections. Each method will be put in a section. Please pause this video until you have your materials ready and you have your notebook page split into 4 sections. Now that you're ready to go, I would like to talk about our very first method of adding large numbers. This method is called the place value method, and you're going to put it in the first section in your notebook. For each method today, we will be using the exact same addition problem so that you can easily compare and contrast each method. Our addition problem is going to be 879 plus 754. In the place value drawing, you are going to draw out each one of those numbers using the pictures we have been practicing with in class. Please pause this video and draw out 879 and 754 as you see on the screen now. Once you've finished, you may press play. Now that you have our numbers drawn, I want you to think about what we're doing when we're adding. We are effectively smushing together these two numbers to see what they get in total, and that's the exact same thing we're going to be doing now with our place value drawings. We are going to be taking our drawings and putting them together. Whenever you combine place value drawings, you want to start with the smallest first. So we're going to start with our ones. I know that 10 ones can be combined to make a quick 10. So I'm going to look at my ones and I'm going to count up 10 of them. I know I have 9 on top and I'm going to grab 1 down at the bottom. Now I have a brand new quick 10. I only have 3 ones left, which is not enough for me to make a quick 10, so I'll leave them there, and I know that I have 3 in my 1 spot. Now I'm going to move on to my tens. I need 10 tens in order to make 100. So I'm going to count up my tens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That will give me a new 100 block. I have 1, 2, 3 tens left. That's not enough to make a 100 block, so I know that I have 3 tens or 30 in my 10 spot. Now I can move on to my hundreds. I'm going to count up my 100 boxes to see if I can make a thousands brick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I can make 1 thousands brick. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hundreds left. That's not enough to make a new thousands brick, so I know that my 6 stays in my 100 spot, and I only have 1,000, and that completes the combination of both 879 and 754, making my answer 1,633. This is our first way of solving large addition problems. It's called the place value drawing. Let's move on to our next method. Move on to the next square in your notebook. Our next method has to do with finding the subtotals. I like to call it the left to right or right to left. You'll notice that I've written our problem twice, and I'd like you to do that in your next square, 879 plus 754. Once you've done that, then you can move ahead. I'm going to focus on this problem first, and I'm going to go from right to left. When you go from right to left, you start with your ones, and you add them up. 9 plus 4. 9 plus 4 is 13. Now I'm going to move on to my tens place. 7 and 5. I know that this 7 and 5 don't represent 7 ones and 5 ones. They represent 7 10 bars and 5 10 bars, or 70 and 50. So I need to think, okay, what is 70 plus 50? I know that 7 plus 5 is 12, and I need to add my 0 back in, 120. Notice I'm being careful to line up my numbers in the correct place value. Finally, I'm going to move over on the far left to my hundreds. Just like in my tens, the 7 and 5 didn't equal 7 and 5, but 70 and 50. My 8 and 7 in my hundreds don't equal 8 and 7. They're 800 and 700. So 800 plus 700. 8 plus 7 is 15. Then I add my 2 zeros back in. 1500. Now I'm going to add all three of these numbers together. 3, 3, 6, and 1. With this method, I have gotten the same answer that I got with my drawings, so I know that it's correct, 1,633. That is the right to left method. The left to right method is very similar. You're going to do the exact same thing, except you're going to start on the far left with your hundreds. Remember, 8 and 7 are not ones, they're hundreds. So 800 and 700 would be 1,500 or 1,500. Moving on to my tens, 7 and 5 is 70 and 50. 70 and 50 is 120. And finally, moving to my ones, my 9 and 4 are ones, so I can add them up. 9 plus 4 is 13. 3, 3, 6, 3, 1. 1,633. No matter which way I start with, either with my ones or my hundreds, I'm still going to get the same answer. Now let's move on to your third section in the notebook. Our third method of solving large addition numbers is called the new above, and this one is most likely the one that you are most familiar with, as well as your parents or people that you know. This one is using our carrying method. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start in my ones spot. When I do this method, you always want to start with your ones. Then I'm going to add 9 plus 4, which is 13. Because my 1 is in my 10 spot, I need to carry my 1 to the place, value of 10, and drop my 3 down to my 1 spot. Notice I'm carrying above the number. That's why this is called the new above method. Now I'm going to move on to my tens. 7 plus 5 is 12, plus 1 more is 13. Carry my 1, drop my 3. Finally, I'm going to move on to my hundreds. 8 and 7 is 15, plus 1 more is 16. That is the new above method, and probably the method you are most familiar with. Our final method today is called the new below method, and it's very similar to the new above method. The reason why we're talking about the new below method is sometimes in the new above method, when you carry numbers above those numbers, students and people adding, they forget that those numbers are there. So this method's purpose is to help you remember those. So in this method, what we're going to do is instead of carrying above the number, we're going to carry below the number. So I'm going to start once again in my 1 spot. 9 plus 4 is 13. Now instead of carrying my 1 to the very top, I'm going to put it right down here below my 7 and my 5. My 3 is still going to be in my 1 spot. Then I'm going to move on to my tens. 7 plus 5 is 12. Now that my 1 is right down there, it's a lot harder for me to forget that it's there. 7 plus 5 is 12, plus that 1 that we carried is 13. Once again, I'm going to carry my 1 into my 100 spot and drop my 3 into the 10 spot. Finally, I'm going to move on to my hundreds. 8 plus 7 is 15, plus the 1 that I carried is 16. As you can see, the new below method is very similar to the new above method, but it's an extra step to just make sure that you don't forget the numbers that you carried. If you forget those numbers, you'll get your whole problem wrong. Today, I have just given you a brief overview of 4 ways to add big numbers. What I'd like you to do is I would like you to try it on your own, using the example 529 plus 783. Flip to a clean sheet in your notebook and split it into 4 sections. Then, try the place value drawing, the subtotals, or left to right to left, the new above and the new below. I will be checking this tomorrow to make sure that you understand how to do each method, even if it's not your favorite. Enjoy. Remember, if you struggle with one of the methods, go back in the video and re-watch me do the example. Then, try it again.